those of you, obviously my internet's having issues, so sorry guys if you fall off for a second. But today I was doing my morning journaling and getting ready for my day. I have free spirit talks in a little while with Miss Kendall. So if you don't watch free spirit talks or haven't in the past, get your butt over there and follow us and watch our shenanigans live. But today I really wanted to, like I said, I was journaling, I was doing my morning kind of mindset work, and I got a text message from somebody, and it really kind of like popped this phrase into my mind of, it's all about you, and yet it's not. So recently I've had lots of clients, and like I said, people in my life that are like, well, why haven't you responded? What's going on here? Thinking that other people should be doing stuff for them. Things like a text message. I actually had a client a couple weeks ago tell me like, oh, well, if I get a text message and I don't respond, that's being rude. That would be me being rude in that moment. Eventually, there is like, okay, yeah, if you get a text message and somebody's asking you something, there is common courtesy, but this like, if you're not immediately responding. And so it really got me thinking about this concept of like, it's all about us, because the truth is we are here for ourselves a little bit, to fulfill our soul purpose, to move forward with our lives, to enrich our own lives for our feel good. And that is, at the end of the day, that we are always kind of at a level of self-serving, of growing self and expanding self and finding pleasure for self. So there is this beautiful like selfishness that is so important. It really is. It's really, really important to find that level of selfishness. And yes, I'm saying the word selfish because we think that it's like a cuss word, and it's not. Being selfish is a requirement for us moving forward in our lives. And we're not being selfish, when we're not taking time for self, when we're not taking care of self, we end up burning ourselves out. And so when, for example, if Easter, I get a text message, I'm sorry, I'm with my family, I'm with the people who are closest to me. That is my self-care time. That is my fill-up time. That is my time to recharge. And so even if I know the person that I get a text message from, if I'm not in a place to answer that, then I'm not going to answer that. I'm taking care of myself in that moment. And it's not being rude. It's not caring about somebody else. It's going, I need to fill myself here, or this is important to me right now. And I promise, and like knowing that I will get back to that. And so there is this like taking care of self that is a requirement, because it is all about you. It is, we are each and every one of us are the circle or the center, the cornerstone. I obviously have not had enough coffee this morning, guys, but we are the cornerstone of our own lives. We are the cornerstone. You know, we only see from our perception. We only experience from our perception. So we have to take care of ourselves. And if you are constantly worrying about everybody else, I'm sorry, but you're not getting a firm foundation within self. You're not actually expanding self. And so on this line, it is all about you and taking care of you and focusing internally on you. And yet, because I did get this comment of like, well, it's rude if you don't answer within like this amount of time. Well, I'm sorry, it's not. I don't find that rude. I find that taking care of self, especially if, truthfully, if you're, and right now I'm picking on the text message thing, but I think that this applies to so many areas this applies to. But it's like, if I am not in that vibration to answer that, what I'm going to end up doing is actually causing more harm. If I'm in a pissy mood or not in a place to want to talk to somebody, then me forcing myself to do that is not going to end up good for myself or for that other person. And right now, like I said, I'm picking on this text message type thing or answering a phone call. But the same thing goes for like in the bedroom. Like if you're not into it, just be a no. Just be a no, because the truth is you're just going to do more harm. And so it is taking care of self on that line. However, I think people tend to fall into one of two categories here. They are either really good at taking care of themselves, or they're really good at taking care of everybody else and not taking care of themselves. And the flip side of that is I think some people get too self-focused. Yes, I said it. I know I'm going to have like lots of people being like, lots of spiritual practitioners being like, that's so wrong and blah, blah, blah. But I do think sometimes we get too self-centered. We get too focused in on self. We forget to look outside of self and see kind of how our actions are impacting others. So though you should always be taking care of self first, you are always your first priority. And that is a firm line. Should always be your first priority, even above your children. Yes, guys, above your kids. Because if you, and I'm going to go back to the airplane metaphor I always use, if you're not putting on your oxygen mask, you're not going to be able to put on the oxygen mask of your kids. You're going to be dead. You're going to be dead, and then they're going to be suffering as well. So you have to take care of self even above your children. Not saying don't take care of your children. Children are very important, but to make sure you're taking care of self. However, I think sometimes we focus so much on self that we forget to really tune into what's going on around us, what's going on in the lives of other people, how at the end of the day, yes, it's all about us, but we are here to connect. We are here to have this beautiful connection with others around us and to really impact others and to share love and to receive love and all of those elements. I mean, the truth is there is that beautiful lesson of giving and receiving. Those are our beautiful spiritual lessons that we're here to learn. And so if you're only focused on yourself, you are missing humongous lessons that other people are trying to teach you about just the human condition, about the spirit. Because how you react, how you move about life isn't how everybody else is. And what a beautiful, beautiful gift to see. Oh, okay, like, so that is how that person kind of reacts, and that's not how I would go about that, and that's interesting. Get really interested in it, not judgy, but go like, oh wow, like that's interesting. That's a gift for me to see how other people are interacting in the world. But I also think we can get too self-focused. We forget to think about others outside of self. So I'm going to go back to my text message lesson at the very my text message example at the beginning of my video. So if you receive a text message and it's an important text message from somebody and you just continue to ignore, knowing that will have an impact. Is it your responsibility to take care of that other person? No, it's not. It's not your responsibility. You aren't responsible for taking care of that other person, but you should know, and it is a lesson in and of itself to understand that your energy, what you're doing in your day-to-day world is having an impact. It is having a ripple effect. So if you choose to not answer the text message, which is totally cool, and that is totally your call, and you do need to check in with self, but knowing, okay, yes, that this potentially could create a ripple effect. This could impact that person, which is then going to impact this next person, which is then going to impact the next person. Not blaming self, not going, I should feel responsible, I should start shitting on yourself. No shitting on self. But just knowing, okay, yes, there will be an impact. There will be a rollout of this. And also, I think sometimes we don't think I think there's people pleasing, and then there is just going, so I wonder how that person's doing. I wonder how that situation right now is impacting somebody else. I wonder how that person's just simply doing. I notice that person's been putting a lot of work. I notice that person's been giving so much to me. I wonder if I could give to them. There is some beauty in the gift too. We always focus so much on the receiving of like, oh, I want to receive abundance. I want to get, which is amazing. And receiving is a lesson and a spiritual process all of its own. And I think we all have lessons to learn. I forgot to put my phone on silent. I think we all have these lessons to learn in receiving, but we also need to learn to give, and to give from an unconditional loving place, and not necessarily from this place of like, I'm going to give and then get back. But there is that giving, and in order to give, we have to open our freaking eyes and see what's going on around us, see the people around us, think outside of ourselves in that moment at times, and go, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. I wonder how so-and-so's doing. Seeing, this is where we can really get in trouble in relationships, especially when we start to not truly kind of get a full kind of above picture of what's going on in our world, with the people in our world. This is when conflicts start happening that don't necessarily need to happen. It's like, well, you just forgot to say thank you there. And then the next day you forgot to, bring me my coffee that you always bring me. And then you forgot to, I don't know. But it's these little moments of like not kind of keeping just an awareness. And again, we always come first. We are always taking care of self first. So I'm not saying to go and people please. I'm not saying to give of self when you don't have anything to give. That's bullshit, and that's not going to do any good for anybody. However, if you are continually feeling depleted, sorry, nose itchy. I get like my nose gets itchy as soon as I get on live. I don't know what the deal is. But if you are continually feeling depleted and you are receiving and people are giving to you, then you actually might want to look at giving, because that might be the issue. You might have not given enough. You may not have been sending that energy out, and so you're too full of crap. But you're too full of crap, and you need to get that energetic flow going and moving. So again, if people are constantly giving to you and you're like, I'm never full right now. I'm not like I still feel depleted. I still feel like I don't have anything to give. Well, then you also might want to look, there's so many things you might want to look at there, but one of them might be, maybe you're not thinking outside of self enough. Maybe your energy is blocked because you're not allowing that flow. You are focused too much on self. Maybe your spiritual lesson is to look outside of self. So know where you fall in that. If you're somebody who is that people pleaser, only focused outside, or if you're that person who is more focused, who is more like, I'm just gonna focus in on me and I'm gonna like screw everybody else. Like we have a lot of that going on right now, like screw everybody else. Well, again, why does everybody want to call me when I'm on my left? But to kind of just like look where you fall in that spectrum, and sometimes we go back and forth. So yes, be selfish, take care of self, focus in on self, but also make sure that you are focusing externally as well, on the other people in your life, and knowing at the end of the day, your actions do have a ripple effect. I would love to say that they don't, but they do. They do. And that doesn't mean you necessarily need to change what you're doing. It's just a conscious knowledge of like, okay, so I'm going to do this, and I know that this is going to have a ripple. And to just kind of have that in your mind, because although you are never responsible for somebody else's reactions, emotions, you do impact others. Your energy impacts, what you're doing impacts others. And that is part of being human and really connecting and sharing and finding depth in relationship and just in community. So it's all about you, and yet it's not. So I feel complete with that today. Again, if you don't know, I'm going live at around 12-ish, because we're never on time. Around 12-ish with the beautiful and wonderful Kendall Williams on Free Spirit Talks. So if you don't follow Free Spirit Talks, come on over at Free Spirit Talks on Facebook. That's all you have to type in, and we will be doing our usual shenanigans. I don't know what we're talking about today, but we will be surprised at 12 when we start talking. So follow me there. Also, I'm doing a Tantra 201 workshop in the DFW area in Plano on the 18th of May, and so that is less than a month away, so make sure that you get your seat now. It is a smaller group, and so seats really are limited, and it is always an amazing, amazing workshop. So much connection, so much beautiful energy that we're sharing. So come on and join us. Get your tickets now, because you cannot buy them at the door. This is a pre-registration workshop, and you can find that on my website, addisonbell.net, not com, .net. Or just kind of scroll through Facebook. So, all right, I will talk to you guys actually probably later. So, see you guys tomorrow for another Addison Unleashed. Sending you all love, light, and blessings. Bye, guys. Love ya.